All right, let's take a look at Ayden and all of his different aspects of movement and see if we can figure out what we can do here. Here's the start. I didn't get a good side shot, so I can't do top end speed. Like I said, the track races are too far away and I really can't tell much. But if you want to send me that video, I'd be happy to look at it and do further stuff. But right off the bat, now he's got one of these combine starts where he's bunched on the line. And I know the concept is get as much of your body forward, but the problem is people who are really good at that have specific skill qualities, and it's a very small group of people. So he's kind of at a disadvantage coming out. So his first move is, because he's so bunched up, you know, he's got a lot of slack that he has to take up, and that's why he goes from this position to this position here where he hasn't really moved much. It's you know, everything flexes and goes. And he's down really low here. So when your spine's bent like that, you can't get a lot of extension going because your body thinks it's going to fall. So he gets out well. I mean, he's out a good mark here, but you can see that he's kind of got this famous John Smith start where his foot strike is way out in front. Then he lets his center of mass pass by and then gets his extension here. And he's still down really low. And he's covering ground here, but again, that foot on the ground, you know, out in front of the center of mass, that's a long time to be on the ground. And finally, by his third step, he's in a position where, you know, he's going to get some good power into the ground with his torso up, but then he drops it a little bit more. Again, he's still down, and by this step, his foot strike is still out in front, so he's behind. And the problem with being behind at this point is that back half of the 40, he will still be behind, and that foot strike will be out in front. So he will always be late in his sprint, which is going to cost him about 2 to 3 tenths. And he's finally getting up to speed here. And finally, out to, what is this, yard 15, he's got his body into a position where he can start to drive, but that foot strike is still out in front. What a good one would look like, pull this one up over here. This athlete's further off the line, so his body's in a better position. That front leg is bent at 90 degrees. The back leg is bent at about 135. Now he's really powerful. I mean, he's a 38-inch vertical jump guy, so he probably he can tighten up his angles like he has. But with Ayden, I would back up a little bit more. But when he comes out of the hole, his chest comes up, which allows time for that knee to come up more, which allows that center of mass to travel more. And then when that foot strike comes down, it's behind his foot. So in an acceleration phase, we want as little braking as possible so you get to top speed. A really great starter is going to have this hang time when that back leg comes off the ground, that you're in the air for some time. And this guy's a 4.440. Yeah, he plays in the NFL, so he's legit. Whereas with Ayden, if we go back to the start here, you can see that foot strike is out in front. There's his toe off. 2 frames later, he's on the ground already. There's his toe off, and 1 frame later, he's on the ground already. Toe off, 1 frame later, he's on the ground already. So he's got way too much deceleration and not enough hang time when he's coming out of the hole, which means, like I said, it's going to cause problems on down the road.